Talking college sports in the Deep South where college football is king. We would like to think that the SEC conference is arguably one of the better conferences in college football. The SEC West, highly competitive, especially at the line of scrimmage as always. Fierce rivalries, especially two in-state rivalries as well as the interconnecting rivalries in the SEC West. Down in East Alabama where Auburn University rests, they call that place the loveliest village on the plains, and the battle cry is War Eagle. All right, wake up, guys. Let's get this comment section active. I want to know your guys' opinion on this particular subject. We're talking Jarrett Stidham. He's now in the NFL, but as it turns out, a former NFL executive made the statement the other day that, Jarrett Stidham hurt his stock at Auburn, that the offense might be the worst offense in college football, and that they can't train a quarterback, in reference to Gus Malzahn's ability to produce a quarterback at a high level at the SEC. So we kind of look at this article, and there's somewhat of, maybe some points here in this thing, but when you really look at Auburn chronologically in Gus Malzahn's era, you really didn't have a quarterback that, really had the equipment to be a NFL quarterback. You talk about, Nick Marshall, although a great athlete, went to the NFL as a cornerback, and of course, Jeremy Johnson just didn't pan out. I honestly don't think overall that Jeremy Johnson couldn't be developed, but I just think he couldn't be developed within the system that Auburn was attempting to run, and he had some accuracy issues. Now, Sean White, in my opinion, actually was pretty successful. When he was healthy, he really did a great job of running the offense for the Auburn Tigers, but injuries started to plague him. One thing I liked about Sean White is that he made very good decisions. And even when he decided to tuck the ball and run, made very good decisions, protected the ball for the most part. But then comes Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham, highly productive as a passer, helped Ryan Davis to become one of the all-time leader in receptions for the Auburn Tigers. Now, a detractor to that, if you look at Ryan Davis, if you really break down the stats, Ryan Davis only averaged about 8 to 9 yards per catch. He caught the ball many times, but what that tells me is, there are a lot of short routes being thrown to Ryan Davis. You can go back and look at film, and that is particularly the case. Now, we talk about the 2017 season for the Auburn Tigers. Jarrett Stidham had an excellent year. The only caveat to that is the fact that Jarrett Stidham had a knack for turning the ball over in very, very high consequence games and in very, very high consequence situations, proving deadly in the SEC championship game against Georgia. He fumbled the ball inside of the 20 where Auburn was about to go up 2 scores, and probably, the game's probably going to be looking like the first time around when Auburn defeated Georgia, when Georgia was number 1 in Jordan-Hare Stadium. But that turnover, in my opinion, changed the whole scope of that football game. Most of the time when Jarrett Stidham turns the ball over, it's severely costly. You talk about a few weeks later in the Peach Bowl against UCF. I think Auburn should have beat UCF. Largely, a huge part of that loss was Jarrett Stidham was responsible for all 3 turnovers. As a matter of fact, one of the 3 turnovers converted into a touchdown, and the last turnover of the game was just an errant pass in the end zone where there was no one in the end zone except for UCF defender. You fast forward to 2018, where Jarrett Stidham against Tennessee, just responsible for all 3 turnovers, including a turnover that converted into a touchdown for Tennessee. One thing that Jarrett Stidham has had an issue with while at Auburn is helping to neutralize otherwise, opponents that I think Auburn should have beat, just for lack of a better way of putting it. So I think, in a way, Auburn's offense is not predicated toward a Tom Brady type quarterback or Joe Montana or Peyton Manning. But I think at times Jarrett Stidham didn't put himself in a place to be an elite quarterback in that regard, because when it came down to, I just still have not seen, with the game on the line often, that Jarrett Stidham could not prove to be a liability during these particular times of the football game. Now, when things are going great, everything's clicking on all cylinders, Jarrett Stidham looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But when the pressure's on, when the consequence is high, he has shown in several occasions that he has a knack for making very, very shaky decisions. So one thing that can help, obviously, in NFL for Jarrett Stidham, he's just got to protect the ball. And I think he's going to be in a system with the New England Patriots to where that probably won't be a huge issue. Very systematic in the way that they approach the game. Numerous championships. So he's going to be in good hands. And I think this is an opportunity for him to lose with his base skill set. I think he's a great quarterback. But this article, I think, is very, very irresponsible, in my opinion. I don't think all the research was done, because if you look at the Gus Malzahn offense, especially when he's calling plays, is arguably one of the more productive offenses in the country. Against Alabama in 2014, producing 600 yards and 44 points, just rolling up the points. Had Trey Mason in 2013 as a Heisman candidate, has won a Heisman Trophy winner in Cam Newton. This particular offense has produced 2 national championship appearances, winning 1 for the Auburn Tigers, 3 SEC championship appearances, winning 2 out of the 3. So I could argue that this offense is pretty productive. Now, as far as quarterback development, you got Cam Newton, who's currently a Carolina Panther. You have Jarrett Stidham, who now is a New England Patriot. So, we can argue that this offense is not quite as inept as people may think. So this is what I want you guys to do. Look, go ahead and share your comments in the comment section. I think this will get the comment section very active here on a beautiful Sunday morning. I want you guys to get engaged as to what we're talking about here on Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Go ahead and like this video, comment, of course, as we always do, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Until next time, fearless and true gang, War Eagle.